I've just arrived in London where I've got a number of clients for coaching over the next few days. And I'm reflecting on the sorts of conversations that a lot of people are having at the moment. There's something about this time of year. It's September, it's the start of a new term, where naturally people start thinking, well, how could I change something? Or how could I start something? So maybe you want to go for a promotion, or maybe you want to change the culture of your team for the better. And a lot of the conversations I'm having are with clients who feel like they have changed quite dramatically, but the people around them haven't noticed, and they're struggling to bring those people on board. So for example, you might be going for promotion and you might feel like you have stepped up your capabilities. You've responded well to feedback and you're taking on more responsibilities. And yet your boss still hasn't introduced that promotion conversation. Or perhaps you're trying to change the culture of your team and you're introducing loads of great ideas from podcasts and authors and behavioral ideas, and yet your team still don't seem to get it. So the question is, how do you show people when you have changed, and how do you even enrol them in being part of that change? One of the strategies to try is to interrupt people's perception. So what do I mean by that? Well, human beings in general are not as perceptive as we like to think we are. Usually we end up with a story about a situation or about a person or about a scenario that tends to just stay the same unless it gets interrupted. So we tend to just gather up more and more evidence that backs up that one story, that one perception we have. And so sometimes your job is to interrupt people's narrative so that they might form a new story. So you might want your boss to have a different story about your capabilities or the possibilities for you. Or you might want your team to have a different story about what's possible within the culture of the team, or what's okay or not okay. And so how do you interrupt their perception? Well, draw a metaphorical line in the sand. Use an event or some kind of trigger or even some kind of excuse to just show people, look, here's what's happened until now, and after this interruption, let's try something else. So you might want to even use this video as an excuse. You might want to say, hey, I was just watching this video on LinkedIn, and so as a result, I'd love to try this. It's an interruption of perception. Or you want to go for a promotion, you might want to interrupt your boss's perception by saying, hey, look, I would love it if we could meet regularly to have conversations about where you notice me developing and where you feel the development areas still are for me to be promoted. Maybe with your team, it's about saying, hey, look, I would love if we could meet regularly to discuss the culture of our team and collectively what we feel is all right or what isn't all right about our culture. It's an interruption of the perception. So how do you introduce change, and how do you even enroll people in change and show them that you've changed your thinking? Use something to interrupt their perception that says, here's what happened, and now as a result of this, let's try looking in another direction.